Yep. Yep. That's valid. Okay. So glad you came by. I'm being very serious about that. I appreciate it. It's been crazy here. Steve Weiner from GetRubix.com, and today we're going to finish up our pre-migrate script for the ZeroTouch migration. We're going to construct the XML and take a look at what the actual blob looks like when we go get it. Blob's kind of a funny word. Come back anytime. Okay, so now that we are through the device migration part of the script, or I should say backup for migration, there's only one thing left to do, and that's to construct the blob store, construct the XML for the blob stars. Sorry. So let's call this XML string. XML string. Okay. We have to make a config. We have to, wrap it in something. Okay, first value that's going to go here is our unique identifier, the GUID. Okay. Next, we're going to put our migrate method, and that's going to be migrate method. Okay. We're going to put some PC info, so hostname is hostname. Again, this is very similar to what we did last time, so this should look pretty familiar. Serial number, serial number. Username is going to be user. Okay, we need to grab the autopilot ID, because we're going to bring all this back later. When we actually build the start migrate script. Now we'll have this all. We don't have to grab it at that time. Intune ID. Intune ID. We need the group tag. Okay. The locations for backup. Locations will be XML locations. Locations. And the same thing with applications. All apps. And that'll do it. So we take that. XML file equals config.xml. The XML path will equal the local path. XML file. Okay, that's we're putting it just with everything else. We're going to create it. New item. Let's capitalize that. Let's be a little concise. XML path. Force. And now we just set the contents. Set contents. Set content path. XML path. And the value is the XML string. And now we can just write host. XML file saved to XML path. So in this case, the blob GUID is going to go not in the container name blob. It's going to go in a the container we set was for pre-migrate data. I'm just going to scroll up a second so we can look at that. So you see here, that was this pre-migration data is where we're putting this in the blob storage. So we're gonna go ahead and scroll down here. So blob GUID equals GUID.xml. And now we just upload to blob. Okay. Upload to blob. Set easy storage blob content file XML path container blob GUID context and force. And now we can write that out. XML path uploaded to storage account name blob storage, and we just stop the transcripts. Awesome. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, so I have a test machine here that's enrolled in my source tenant, pretty much like you've seen a million times. And I'm going to my temp folder where I have the PowerShell script, and we're just going to run it as if it was coming from Intune and running a system. Bypass. Let's go ahead and run that. Okay, so it looks like it stopped. It placed, let's see if it made our folder. So C program data Intune migration. It did, and it put the config file and the pre-migrate file in there. If we go back to our lab here and we go look for our Azure Storage Explorer, we should see this posted in our blob storage. So storage counts, CTDS. So let's look at the pre-migration data. And take a look at that. We have a GUID XML. So I'm going to go ahead and download that. Okay. And let's open that with Visual Studio. So take a look at what we have here. So this is the config file that was created. So you can see when we call this back after we're in a new tenant, we have a GUID to call it with. So we'll be able to find that very easily. We have our migrate method, which is local because we had enough space to do that with. Host name, serial number, we got the autopilot ID, the Intune ID, the username, everything we can call right back. We even have our installed applications if we wanted to take a look at what everyone has before migrating. So this is a great amount of data to have before migrating users, and it helps us kind of make decisions and understand what's coming when we actually get to the migration. Now that the pre-migration script is done, we're going to move on to the actual Intune migrate package, which will have an updated start migrate script and some upgraded post-migration activities. So keep watching. I believe it's here is the link to the Discord. It should be. Is it here? Join if you want to talk about this. Fair enough?
1, 2,